Sasha Ustinova is a member of the Ukrainian Parliament and one of the minority leaders. She also is a member of the board of Anti-Corruption Action Center. I meet her here in Washington, D.C. Sasha, thank you so much for making time.
Thank you so much for inviting.
So let's start with the obvious. How harmful were the leaks?
Well, the leaks were not very harmful to us because it's only a few people in our country who know what the situation is and when the counteroffensive is going to be, including the president of Ukraine. But unfortunately, it shows that there are problems with the security worldwide, and we really hope that these security problems will be fixed because a lot of people might get hurt later if we have any other leaks.
Were you surprised that all this information got leaked?
Actually, I wasn't because we've seen that so many times already, not only about Ukraine, but about other issues, about other problems. So I think it's just living in the digital era and living in the digital age, you should understand that unfortunately everything that is there online can be leaked.
But when I understand you right, so you don't think that information which is leaked about your planned offensive is really hurting your military strategy?
Well, there is no exact information on when it starts, on what will we be doing. This is more of a general information on what has been done. So we are planning it on our side. It's only a few people in Ukraine who knows when the counteroffensive is going to start and what exactly it's going to look like. And I think that's why we're on the safe side so far.
You are also serving on the anti-corruption board or in the center. I would like to talk a little bit with you about the accusation regarding President Zelensky working closely with Russia. Semen Harsh, for example, published an article about that. Is there any truth to that?
Well, it's difficult to accuse President Zelensky in any kind of collaboration with Russia because this person stood up against one of the biggest countries in the world, and honestly, I think every government in the Western world was asking him to evacuate from Kiev and to leave the country because it was very dangerous. And he said that I'm staying, I'm going to take a gun and fight if needed. So we always look at this accusation and these so-called leaks as one of the Russian propaganda that people are being fed with. Unfortunately, it does work in some countries. People read it and they start being hesitant whether we need to provide Ukraine more support, more weapons, or more financial aid because this is something uncertain. But I think after more than 400 days of war, we had proved that all these accusations are fake.
You are here in Washington to advocate for getting these very much needed F16. Maybe you can explain a little why they are so crucial and what the hesitations are from the US government and why that matters so much to you.
We had been asking for the F16 fighter jets because this is a part of the air defense system for us. Unfortunately, what we see so far is the Russian jets going up in the air almost at the border with Ukraine and shooting the missiles and rockets to our territory. Their capacity is much better because they have newer planes. So if you look at the Ukrainian planes, the radar system works for 60 kilometers. They can see at the 60 kilometers. These guys can do 400. We can shoot at 30 kilometers. They can shoot more than 200 kilometers. So unfortunately, if we don't have the new jets, it is difficult for us to even protect our civilian population, to protect the army from the air. We are shooting down the drones, the Shahed drones also and the missiles with our jets. But again, when you have a 50-year-old jet, almost like back from the Second World War, it is very difficult to operate because any fight between the Russian jets and the Ukrainian one is a suicide mission for our pilots who are heroes already. We had been asking for the jets for a pretty long time, explaining the need to basically be able to protect ourselves, but unfortunately there is no political decision. The main argument against the F-16 is Ukrainians do not know how to operate it. It's going to take a long time to train them. You know, we had been hearing the same arguments about providing Ukraine with HIMARS, which were very effective at the battlefield. We now have T-shirts with HIMARS kids wear on the streets because they know this is one of the coolest weapons. We had been told about the same about the Patriot's air defense system. Well, Ukrainians are already trained and know how to use them. We had been told the same about the tanks. It's all about the political decision. So we don't hear the arguments. We're hearing excuses why not to give it to us. It's been more than a year of war, more than 400 days of war. I think if this conversation about us not being able to fly that started half a year ago, we would already have the jets shooting down the Russian airplanes, jets, and we would save so many lives so far.
How important is that you bring the United States into that? Because there are other countries who would be willing to send you the F-16s.
Well, it is very important to bring the United States on board because they are the owners of the F-16. None of the countries in the world can not even provide but sell it to Ukraine. There are people wanting to buy it, there are countries wanting to buy it and send it to Ukraine because the export license has to be proven by the United States.
What is the biggest hesitation from the United States? What do they tell you up at the Hill when you talk to lawmakers?
Well, the official excuse is difficult to operate, which, again, we had heard about many different types of weapons, and we are successfully operating those. But I think an unofficial excuse is they're scared of the escalation again. We have been hearing about the escalation starting February 2022, that if we give you HIMARS, it's going to escalate. If you give you tanks, it's going to be escalation. So far, we see that it has been helping us to protect, to fight back, but not to escalate. Putin has gone so far, and after the atrocities, after everything that people saw on TV, on media that happened, I don't think there is no more escalation that he has done.
Last question, General Petraeus, for example, told me in an interview that if you would get these F-16s and enough munition, the war could be over in autumn or at least by the end of the year. Do you agree?
This is completely true. So if we have the F-16, if we have enough munition and enough weapons, the war can be over even in summer. And that's what General Zaluzhny, the head of our armed forces, was very clear with our partners. So if you provide enough weapons for us to push them back at the territories, then we can be the shield of Europe and protect not only Ukraine, but the rest of Europe. But yes, for this we need the jets and we need the heavy weapons.
Sasha, thank you so very much.
Thanks. Thank you so much.